Well, this is Susan, and you're watching the Blue Bottle Bunny Farm channel. And Merle and I are walking on the dirt road behind the house, and we're on our way to look at some wild oyster mushrooms that I've had my eye on for a while. Oh, there's a pretty something or other. I don't know what this is. Oh, we gotta get a picture of it though. I love mushroom hunting. And it just rained here. And so they're popping up all over the place. And I know I've been picking oyster mushrooms over by the swamp, but I picked them all. I'm afraid to eat them. Even though I know exactly what they are, I'm just not hungry enough to risk it. But it's a fun hunt. I guess I'm just going to talk a little bit today. God, it's so hard sometimes. I find it hard to express myself, even to the camera, and sometimes it's so hard to express myself to other people. I'm a really good listener. I really am. I'm a very good listener. But sometimes I want to talk too. And it's hard talking to people in my home because everybody wants to talk and nobody wants to listen. You know, I'll say something and it will trigger something in Randy or Dana, and then they'll go off on a tangent, and then I'll respond to that and they continue to go on, and then my points always seem to get lost. So I just get quiet, resign myself to just go off and handle it by myself. Or, oh, well, it wasn't that important anyway. Or, you know, it's not that they need that information. It's just that I wanted to say it. And, oh, well, it finally came to a head, because that kind of stifling your emotions and your expression doesn't work very long. Me and Dana had a fight today. And it was, you know, hollering match. And it was just because neither one of us felt like we could express ourselves, or that we were not being listened to. And then the volume escalated. And then by the time you're yelling, you're putting out so much effort to be heard. And when you raise your voice, nobody hears you. So you have to say shitty things to get their attention. And those shitty things, the thing about shit is it sticks. Shitty things stick. I have a cruel and emasculating mouth. If I could change one thing about myself, it would be the capacity to hold my tongue in an argument and not say cutting, cruel, biting, mean things that can never be taken back. Because when you say those things in anger, they stick to the person that you say them to, and they become a stain on your own heart. And then you have to live with that. And like with me and Randy, we've been together for 15 years. He's got 15 years worth of my shit stuck to him. And I've got 15 years worth of trying to clean it up. It's, once you say those things and they leave your lips, you can't take them back. Well, I got a little taste of that today. You know, when Dana and I were, I guess because it's new, he's new, you know, we're fighting. He said some cruel things. And even though he said, I don't know why I said that, I'm so sorry, it still stings, you know? It's like that meme that shows the china plate all broken on the ground, and they say, you know, break the plate. Now tell it you're sorry. Did it fix it? No, it's still broken. And then it takes a lot of glue, and then it's never perfect again. If there's one thing I can never change about myself, it is the capacity to hold my tongue, hold my cruel, cruel tongue in an argument. Because those things never go away. And I am the world's worst about it. I've got so many cruel things that sting me still that I said to Randy in fights that I wish I hadn't. I'd give anything if I could take those words back. But we just keep going on and going on. But I had a thought occur to me today. And the thought was, every time you have an argument with someone, a really heated, like, hollering fight, every time you have a hollering fight, it's another opportunity to get it right this time. That self-control is something I want to achieve. And I don't feel like I can talk to other people in my life, or I don't, you know, I had a therapist, oh, this is rich. Had a therapist for 3 visits, and then she called and canceled 2 appointments, and I thought she was supposed to call me back, and I called and got the voicemail, tried to schedule with her again, and I haven't heard anything from her. I don't know. I mean, it's just like, it's at the county level, so what can you expect? But, you know, I can't help but feel like I got dumped by my therapist. I need to call today and try to reschedule. But that was helping. I liked that. I liked having a counselor to talk to, because just sometimes just saying the things that are on my heart helps. And having another person hear you and listen to you and say, that's valid, or that's ridiculous. You know, I don't feel like I can get any feedback. We brought Dana here because, you know, Randy and I needed a change. We needed to make something happen, and boy, did it ever happen. You know, Dana needed something happening in his life, and for people to meet on the internet and then, like, say, hey, you can come and live here and help us, and we'll have an arrangement. I mean, it sounds cray-cray. It really sounds cray-cray. And it has not been without its challenges. And if I had the chance to go back in time and undo it, would I? I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, when I was a Christian, you know, they would say in the church that God speaks to you, and God might tell you to do something, and God will give you a calling and a burning in your bosom to go and do something. Well, it was kind of like that, even though, you know, I don't believe in God the same way as I used to believe in God. But it was kind of like that. It was like, and I've had callings like that to people before that I've ignored. But having Dana here is like having a little brother. It is a very naturally brother-sister kind of relationship. And that's odd. It's very odd, and people don't understand it. I don't understand it. But he gets on my nerves like a little brother. And I love him like a brother. It's a strange thing to happen in such a short time, you know. But you know, when you meet that one special person that you love and you're supposed to be a couple with, people don't question that. People don't question like love at first sight when there's a romantic element to it. But when there's no romantic element and it doesn't look like, you know, like what am I going to gain from this? You know, it doesn't feel.
Call from +1 205 2389 498.
All right. Well, they can't call me while I'm making a video. I'll just have to call them back. Isn't it beautiful up here? So, having Dana up here has been a blessing. My God, that man, he can't sit still. And he likes to work. And he has cleared out and made the woods a beautiful place to be. And he's digging a pond. And he'll do absolutely anything I ask him to do. He's eager to help me. You know, I've got a good thing here. But if you're ever considering driving up, just know that it's not going to come without its challenges. I knew that. I told him when he came, I said, look, we are not perfect people. Far from it. I got a ton of faults. But you know, sometimes you need a new mirror. Like I needed a new mirror. When we have these displays of emotion back and forth because one of both of us are not getting our needs met and we have expectations of the other person, you know, it shows you yourself. It's showing me myself. I see myself in him and the way he reminds me of a younger version of me. I see behaviors in Dana that I've conquered, and it's almost looking at myself and saying, don't you realize that that's a fucked up way to do it? Or this is a fucked up way to think, or I'm so beyond this. And you know, people are where they are. And I have no doubt he looks at me and says, you know better than that. Don't you know this? Or, you know, don't you know that I have to get my gut bacteria right? And I'm like, take some. Because I've been there. I've been totally anti-doctor, and I've gone totally with the medical system. I've gone both places, and I've been headstrong in both directions. And so there's just, I don't know. He shows me myself. Every time you fight, it's another opportunity to get it right this time. It is so hard to do when you're emotional. And why do we get emotional? Why do we get emotional over mundane things? It's because we're human beings and we need to express. Today, that was the issue, is that neither of us felt like we could express ourselves well. So Dana, today after we had our yelling match, and he threatened to leave, and I threatened to drop him off anywhere in the country he wanted to go, he ground me up some dog food from Earl, and I went out on the back porch to say thank you. I was like, come on, hug it out. We got to hug it out. So we hugged it out. And then we sat down and talked. which is what I wanted to do to begin with. That's all I wanted to do in the begin with. Why do those little unpleasant exchanges come up? But praise God, when they come up, they go away quickly. And nobody really holds a grudge. But every time you have a fight, it's another opportunity to get it right. Get it right this time. Keep your cruel, emasculating mouth shut, Susan. Because I guarantee you, when you cool off, you're not going to feel that way. But the words you say will remain forever in the other person's heart and in your own. So for your own best interest, Susan, don't say cruel, mean things in a fight. Because you can never wash that stain off your own heart. Do it for yourself. Do everything for yourself. This is what we're here for. Try to get it right this time. Well, I done run out of things to say. I hope that was a blessing to somebody. Y'all want to see the oyster mushrooms that I came all this way to look at? I'll show them to you. See there? I'm going to let that little cluster of them grow for as long as they can, because they can get real big. Because I don't know if I got the tenacity, intestinal fortitude, courage to try them. I do like oyster mushrooms. I grew some, and I wasn't afraid to eat those. But, you know, if you know anything about mushrooms, about oyster mushrooms, you just go ahead and say it in the comments. And I hope this has been a blessing to somebody, seriously. I know Dana told me if I felt like I couldn't express myself to write. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking write. He's like, well, go get your camera and talk to it. And though this is not a perfect substitute for real human interaction, I guess it's the best I can do right now. I do feel better after having spoken these words. And, you know, sometimes people just like to watch people talk. I know I do. I got several people that they could talk about. They could talk about anything. They could talk about going to the store and buying a new shirt, and I'd watch their video. So, there you go. There you go. Well, I ain't got nothing else to say. I'm going to go home and work on the yard for a little while. I hadn't had breakfast yet, and it's already noon. Maybe I'll make me something to eat first. All right, well, I'm sure that's way too much information. Blue Bottle Bunny Farm out.